So tonight we're going to be looking at some footage that I took over the weekend with my son, which was a nightmare because he's 4 and he made me cry, but it did highlight the importance of using a light meter to try and get really good exposure. So stick around and we're going to continue this journey with light meters. Welcome back, guys. It's Byron Phillips from byronphillipsmedia.com, and like the intro has suggested, we're literally going to be looking at light meters again. Now, this is something that I'm using to really try and make much better concerted effort with my exposures. I've been fortunate that my father's lent this to me, so thank you, Dad. Now, this is proven to be invaluable. So like I said in the intro, I literally went out with my son the other day. Now he's 4 and he's very busy. So I managed to get 4 shots, literally 4 shots. I could have killed him, but it was a lovely day and we had a cracking day anyway. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you 3 of those shots because they were exposed relatively okay, but I feel they were okay. And then I'm going to show you the shot that was badly exposed because I think I've done that by overexposure of 1 stop. So yeah, let's have a look. So those 3 shots are the 3 shots that came okay, and they are a mix of either 24 frames per second or 50 frames per second. And as you can see in one of those videos where the plane is flying by, it's not completely overexposed. Well, apart from the sun, because there's nothing you can do from that, the rest of it is, I actually feel it turned out quite well considering where the plane was flying through. So it's really important to try and nail the exposure. Now, I thought that using one of these on set would be great because you've got more time to use it and it's going to be an asset. But I wanted to see what would happen if I went out with my son, and would it actually be a hindrance or would it be a really good utility for me to get the right exposure. Now, on the day he was busy, he was very busy and needed a lot of looking after. That's what, 4-year-olds do. That's what they like to do. Pain in the ass. But in saying that, the 3 shots that I did get using one of these I felt was really good and it told me a lot. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through those same 3 shots again, but I'm just going to list exactly what the light meter was actually reading and what settings that would apply to make those exposures. Now this is ungraded, so the footage before was graded and this is ungraded straight from the camera, not touched. I've also included the waveform that DaVinci Resolve sees so that you can see that these aren't clipping and they're not underexposed as well.
And when things are really tough and they're really rough and nothing's working, but there's something inside of you that says, I just have to follow that because you don't know who you're going to meet.
So I hope that's given a little bit of insight into the importance of exposing correctly. It means it's a massive difference when you are in post and you're trying to color correct and really make the most of the image. The next video is, I think I've overexposed this by a stop and it done my head in. I'm not entirely sure what I did wrong. On the light meter, it gave me the reading, and I think between that and my son yeah, I think I overexposed. I think I didn't set the ND filter to 2 stops down. I might have only done 1, which meant it was overexposed. I managed to overexpose it by 1 stop by the looks of it, but you can see on the waveform that it's clipping and it's all over the place. So let's have a look at that. So hopefully that's given you some insight into why using a light meter is actually really beneficial to your videography. Now, what I like with this is that it's not biased. So with the spot meter on the camera, you have to take it with a grain of salt, because if you point at a reflective surface, it might not give you the reading that you want, and you have to be very, very mindful with things like that. If you're doing skin tones, make sure you've got it on spot, so that you can actually highlight parts of the face to get the right exposure, in which case spot metering is fine. But if you are trying to get an overall exposure for like how the light is falling on a subject, then one of these are going to be brilliant. Because if you're, say for instance, you're taking photos of snow, using a spot meter is going to try to do that for middle grey, and then the snow is going to come out really dull and underexposed. However, using one of this, it doesn't care what the reflection is of a surface. All it cares about is actually how the light is falling on it. So like with this setup tonight, I've tried to do a 1:4 contrast ratio. So this I try to set at 2.2, and let me get this powered on. So so this is at 2.5. If you can see it, you just turn it. So that's at 2.5. So I'm near enough damn it to 2.2, which is the cine lens. Now it did have it at 2.2, but I think as other lights got turned on, it's kicked it up a little bit. And with that, that's the negative fill. So I've tried to get a 1:2 contrast ratio or a 1:4. So it's 2 stops under. Now when I measure this, that's actually giving me EU, which means it can't actually read the light at this ISO. So because I'm at ISO 200, in order for me to know how many stops under I am, I've got to increase the ISO. So I've just increased it to a stop and nothing's happened. So if I see if I can get that in. So if we say, so that's gone to 400 and it's still not reading it. And I'm going to increase that to another stop. So now that that's doubled and it's gone to 800 ISO, that means I've had to increase it by 2 stops. So I know that that is 2 stops under. So I can get an idea of how much light is coming off that negative fill. So this is set at 2.2, and I know that that's 2 stops under. So it becomes really handy when you're trying to control lighting. 1 in a studio setup, and 2, like we've seen with the videos today, during outside, during daylight. They are invaluable. So if you can afford to get yourself one, then I'd actually recommend you get this over getting like a slider or motion control system. Focus on the camera, the lighting and the audio. Those are the 3 main things. Don't worry about sliders like I've done, because I've gone ass backwards. These are brilliant. So thank you for joining me tonight. Like and subscribe. I hope you found this useful, and fingers crossed this has all gone well. Cheers.